Now recording.
Okay. See, I thought Craig was an actual person,
I
to
did
be
too.
fair.
I did too.
That's why I was giving him so much shit. That's funny.
JoeB.
That's funny. But
Yeah,
let
it's
me
crazy, man.
let me copy and paste the list in this chat because this is what we decided to open.
Oh,
Um,
is it? Okay, I'll let y'all figure that out.
I don't. Um, I also feel less at power here because my computer doesn't say now recording like that. It just kind of makes a small beeping noise.
Oh wait, can you guys hear me now?
No, I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was on push to talk, so I just changed it to voice activity for now.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, mystery seekers. This is Apera. Welcome to episode 7 of the Case Closed Podcast. I am here with two special people. Like Yukiko, like I always say, we will have the ultimate casting. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, you're both members who have been here before, just never at the same time.
Yeah, Professor C. I don't come on too much these days. Definitely love getting together for these group sessions. I too host a Case Closed podcast and just kind of come together when we do little things like this typically. So a lot of fun to be here and definitely a lot of exciting things to talk about for sure.
Yeah, and this is JoeB, Joseph, Jimmy, whatever you want to call, and I'm from JoeB Reactions. I did come here a bit like a year ago, so it's good to be back.
So this time we have made it more scripted in the sense of we have some bullet points this time. Um, and we will go touch them in no particular order. Just, if you want to grab one out of the hat, shall we say, and go over them. And of course, we're also more than welcome to just uh, spitball some random ideas that just pop up in our head as discussions work. So anybody want to take a first jab?
I guess we could go with one of these topics. So, what do you guys think of movie 18 and 24 coming out?
Okay, so from like what I've said to you guys, and I'm not
Yeah.
disclosing any names here or anything like that, but like from what I have heard, is movie 18 and 24 are in active development and they are a thing that are coming. Whether which order, who knows? From what I've heard, movie 24 should land in March. Whether there's going to be a Blu-ray or um, the digital release on Amazon and iTunes. It's a had to say, and it might not even happen in March. But it to me, from everything I'm looking at, it makes sense. And also from the same place, knowing that movie 20 was getting a Blu-ray right before it happened, and then it happened, is a very good indicator for me to believe what I am hearing. So as far as that, also attach that bullet point Blu-rays going forward. What I personally think about Blu-rays going forward is like Professor C said last night. It makes sense for movie 23 to hit Blu-ray next. It makes sense. And that's my stance on that.
Just to kind of wrap that, which just to kind of get what's already out there digitally on Blu-ray, I think is priority. And I think when we lead with 18 and 24, just I think it's important for us to put out there too. We don't know. I mean, we're all
Yeah.
hopeful. It's all a wonderful speculatory topic, but we don't know. Um, for sure. But I mean, we are very passionate about it. We're all very excited about it. I mean, we do know 24 has an English dub because they were going to premiere it. I would like to think, that Discotheque would, kind of make good on some of the things they said a year or two ago about wanting to get, at least one of these films into theaters on some sort of
Yeah.
release. Maybe something similar to the Lupin movie that came out
Hmm.
last year. You'd hope something like that materializes and develops, but it's hard to say
Yeah.
at this time. So, it's I think it is destined to happen. The question is, Which film will it be? Will it be a
Yeah.
film next year? Could they be waiting for 25 to do that to keep ramping up the interest and the popularity on the English side? And it's still doing very well on Crunchyroll, so I think there's a lot to look at with that.
I would totally like to see Case Closed do a sort of like what we do get for Pokemon or for like Lupin, like where it's just like they'll do 2 days and then a few months later do another 2 days, and that was the run in theaters. Let's be real, there's no way Case Closed, especially with the marketing it has now, there's no way it could last an entire theater cycle. Um,
No, but neither did Lupin. Lupin did special
yeah,
screenings. I mean,
and
I'm not thinking about that.
yeah, but no, I'm not either. I'm just saying I would like to see them get that little, like what you call a small event practically.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess that's what they're doing with cons, right?
yeah, so like when I was practically the first person to show the new English voices to the audience because I got my hands on a copy of the movie that
Hmm.
was shown behind closed doors. And that's pretty much what they're doing at the cons. Yes, they're showing them behind closed doors, and that's the only way you're able to see it. Um, and what's really interesting about the version I have and then the version that got released on Blu-ray are two different versions. Um, like the and I think I brought this up on a previous podcast episode. I don't remember which one it was with, which one of you two, but like the version that they showed behind closed doors was unfinished, which surprised me because TMS Entertainment used this as a way to gauge how people would react to this version of Conan, which they had such a huge hand in. Um, and they directed this to try to have it be so close to the original as possible. And you could tell with the direct translations, there's no wiggle room for change. So sometimes it comes off a bit dry, but I'm okay with it because I'm so used to how Conan's worded now. It's fine. But like there was missing text, and missing like, voices. Like when Conan says, "And here's another dark figure," and he's talking about Bourbon. He doesn't say the name Bourbon. But in the full version, he does. And then when he talks about his love for his country, that wasn't in the original that was shown behind closed doors. Um, so I don't know like if they keep doing that because I haven't been to any of these events and I have not gotten my hands on the uh future stuff that they've shown behind closed doors. But it is odd to see that they are in two totally different states. It's not even just like uh small little like missing clips. I mean, there's one part in the middle that is just like it's silent and it sounds like it's skipping. Um, but it to me it wasn't a finished build. It was just literally a test. Um, so I don't know how they're approaching the rest of these closed door screenings, but it is very interesting to see that it's not like they just boxed it up and sold it as a Blu-ray. They actually did more work on it, which I don't know. I just think is interesting.
Yeah, so usually TMS does this stuff, right? And Bang Zoom just
So yeah, so
distributes it.
yeah, so how it's working is TMS Entertainment is paying for this dub. Um Bang Zoom is making the dub, obviously. And then
Discotech is distributing
Discotech
it.
is distributing and they're licensing uh the property out to do that. Um
Yeah.
which
Well, they're licensing out the physical releases for
yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
And each movie is its own singular license, and
Yeah.
which brings me to two of our points that we could pick. One of them being how we got the 2016 remake, which they're dubbing as the trial. Which I say this every time we talk about the trial. If you're gonna pirate it, stuff like that, you're gonna pirate stuff. No one can stop you. Some people don't have money. I get it. Some people just like a backup. But if there is one to ever actually sit out and buy, it is the trial because that is the number that they're gonna look at most likely to determine what is a plausible next step for the series.
You're talking
But
about episode 1.
yeah, the episode 1 remake special. But
Hmm.
it makes me wonder, since they're doing singular license and that's what they're trying to do right now with all the movies and everything, I really wonder if we're going to get that second there's only two big main specials in Conan that are considered specials that aren't OVAs, stuff like that, and that's the disappearance case of Conan Edogawa, and I really wonder if we're gonna get that one anytime soon. Um, just because it's another singular license that they can pull out, and they don't have to, pay those premium numbers for the main series yet. It's just another thing that isn't a movie. And I would really like to see them take a stab at that, but right now I feel at a loss where I can't even speak for that and saying what they might do, because like Nintendo, that you think they do one thing when you finally learn them and then they just do something else. Because I said on a podcast, or it might have just been on the page on my Codename Apera Facebook page, commenting to somebody. I'm not sure. I just remember it left in my mouth in a case closed setting, because someone asked me. They said, "Do you think we're gonna get the Lupin the Third crossover dubbed?" And I said, "No." I was just like, because it doesn't make sense. It's been out for so long. Discotech already licensed it out for the Japanese dub, and um, has been selling it for so long, where it's just like, does it make sense to make a whole other copy with a dub in it and then try selling it again? I'm like, you already sold half your sales, and they already had the Case Closed logo at the bottom of the box, where it just felt like it just didn't make sense, and that it's more money out the window. But they did it, so uh, I I don't know how to necessarily
I feel
feel
like
about
the
that.
reason that they did Lupin was because Lupin already has a huge
But
following.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
yeah. And that's like we have another point here that I talked about Conan getting Lupin treatment, because I feel like that's the only reason why they ended up turning back and dubbing it for a possible loss at numbers, because Lupin has such a huge, like, half the time their profile picture is of Lupin. Um and they don't own Lupin in any way, shape, or form. Um but I could see them trying to get the Lupin audience into the Conan audience, uh it's just like a way of marketing in terms of just trying to make money, and Lupin people will buy anything. So maybe it wasn't at a loss, and maybe I just didn't know what I was talking about at that exact moment. It surely proved me wrong, because it was a quick turnaround after I said not going to happen, and it did, and I'm happy
Yeah.
for it, because it turned out great. And I feel like they drew the Papa thing 10 times more than what they did in the original, and I know that the new dub is not like really letting any wiggle room. But what was nice was this is the Lupin crossover, so it has the Lupin dub and everything in it, and I felt that gave room to bring more life into it, because the Lupin is never close to translation. It is, they have their fun with it, and I feel like if you guys have noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I felt very different watching this version of the dub compared to all the movies that we got before this. I don't know if it was just me, but it felt like there was a lot more humor and more life that was injected into it that wasn't in the original,
I feel
compared to
like
these
they've gotten
movies where it just
yeah,
feels
they've
copy and pasted.
yeah. I mean they've gotten used to the characters, so they know how to play it now. It's been like 2 years already, so plus maybe they would have had a whole lot of freedom working with the team at Lupin.
Hmm.
And talking
Yeah.
about the sales, for a minute, like I did see Discotech on their live stream talk about the sales of Conan, and they said that they're happy with the sales, but they're not sure how TMS feels about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. That's such a vague thing. You would think, with TMS maybe getting more of a cut on this dub than they did with Funimation, you would think it's going well, but I don't think Discotech can see the digital sales of it too. And
Yeah,
so
because they're being sold on Amazon and
r-
iTunes.
right. So
Yeah.
really, I mean, you look at the Blu-ray as just one piece of the pie, and people are consuming a lot of their content through streaming and renting, and I mean there is a rental option for it too. So um I think it's doing incredibly well. I think that if it wasn't doing well, they would have stopped. They wouldn't have even proceeded to release what they had so far. And it looks like they continue to work on at least the new movie projects that come out. As far as a series, will we see that? I don't. I still am skeptical of that. I think even if we did, it would be, just a
And
handful of episodes
yeah,
here and there.
because it is weird that every time they have a panel, they feel like they have the nerve to say case closed master plan as a bullet point and then just not talk about it. And I'm just
Right.
and that's why I think there is something, and it's either they don't quite know what it is themselves yet, or it is something so big that they cannot fully disclose what it is yet, and it's more of a, please wait, look, it is coming. We're still bringing it up. We're not dropping it. It's not, it's not dead. It is interesting because I see it at least uh 3 times a month or so as I'm scrolling down. I mean, it's still something that's being talked about, and I'm just like, there has to be something there. And whether the master plan is them just doing the movies, and then maybe there's a different team that's doing the dubs for the show, and like you said, in small portions, not naturally the entire show, because that's never going to happen. Um, because there was talking about that even at one point where this movie team might not be the team that actually does the show if the show were to ever come to fruition. Whether that holds to anything or not, I do think if we do get a dub of the show, it will be with the current voice cast with maybe one or two changes. But it is interesting that that was another thing that was brought up, that it might not even be the team already behind it. Like, this team was really put together in the sense of a test fire, and it just kind of, they just kept using it. Because at how early stage that Zero the Enforcer was in, I was shocked that even made a full blue like a full Blu-ray release in a fully finished sense. I really thought we were going to get what was shown, maybe a little bit touched up, like clipped closer together where you didn't have those weird oddities, but I totally didn't expect more content in terms of added voice lines and stuff like that.
With both of them being, with each property being their own thing, you have to worry about that,
Yeah.
because you just don't know. And I think for the future of it, if they do the series, for me to buy into it or to even really watch it, I would really want some of the older voices. Not saying like older voices to come back and reprise their roles, but
Yeah.
I would want some of the older voices at least involved,
Yeah.
as far as either directing or, in the sense of at least voicing characters within the show, kind of like what we saw with Kevin Connolly coming back for Leon Lowe in 23, which was a masterful, performance by him. Um,
And then the
I
guy
would
who
need that.
voiced Harley, uh wasn't he in one of the
That was Kevin
yeah.
Connolly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
who
then
voiced Leon Lowe, yeah.
I know, I'm sorry, I just had a a, a moment, because we had this conversation about him before, but I just remember I was so mad that he didn't play Harley. I was just like, you had the guy, why didn't he do, um, but
I mean, he could have auditioned for it, but at the end of the day,
it's also Team S. We
TMS
gotta
can't.
understand Team S. Like we had this conversation before with the way Japanese directing is, they have a certain vision for it, and they implement their social cues onto English voices, and that's not how we speak, or that's not how we do things, like the grunting that I talked about before and stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's not, we don't grunt like that when we climb a ladder. So but they'll yell at you to do that, and then you'll have to explain it to them. That's not, no. And it's very interesting to see their direction with this, because according to the people at Bang Zoom, they claim they never heard the Japanese voices, and the Japanese voices were not there when they got the audio tracks. It was literally just the SFX and the music. which kind of makes sense because it was very easy for me to scrub when I did the audio of the voices only when I showed the dub to the world. But it's very interesting to see them say that, but yet they sound so close to who they are supposed to be representing. And maybe that's just a legal thing that they were supposed to say and be told that's how it went. And maybe
Well, the
it's
odd are you talking about the Bang Zoom cast?
yeah, the Bang Zoomcast. They
The
said that
Japanese the Japanese studio had input on that.
yeah. Oh no, I know, but they said like when they received like all like the tracks and everything when it was like in testing that they it was just music and SFX. There was no previous Japanese voice actors, so they had no idea how those original actors sounded. They were just told, "Hey, this character, what do you think he would sound like?" And
All
then,
3 dubs were handled that way from Singapore, the Singapore English dub
but
to
I know, but
Funimation
what
to
I'm trying to
them, for
say is,
sure,
what's
too.
interesting is though, Bang Zoom's dub though, they sound so much like their Japanese counterparts, where it's kind of makes it hard to believe that you never heard these voices before. When you sound like you're that exact like counterpart, like um and a few people have said that they went home, listened to it after, and then came back and then implemented that into their voice later. But like I just find it really hard to believe that that was like fully the case because like Shinichi, I don't know how much about Ram, but like Shinichi is a prime example of switching the flip from Japanese to English.
Yeah, it's, it's gonna be
Yeah, that was
curious to see
the
how that is going forward.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like Funimation follows a different method, at least as of recently, because for the JoJo Bizarre Adventure, the latest season, Stone Ocean, the actors were able to were asked to listen to the voices before doing the dub. So as of late, uh, the Western dub scene has started to focus a bit more on the Japanese voices. But it's interesting to see that even though some studios do it, Bang Zoom and others preferred that the voice actors have greater freedom with them.
It's nice because some characters, you just don't like the voice of, and they get a chance to fix it. It wasn't Dr. Agasa's case for me, but it's fine. um but yeah, it is very interesting, and like Professor C said, I would like to see some old talent come back, and it's not just to do characters that they did before. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Jerry Jewell was the perfect Shinichi Kudo, and anyone can fight me on that. I feel like if that man was to speak in English, that is what he would sound like. Um, but it is very it's what gave. I feel like those voices, not to go on too much of a tangent of this, is what gave that show life. Um, it was very classic '90s anime sounding, and that's how the show takes place in that time frame. Why there's a selfie stick, I can't answer that. I don't want to talk about it either. Um, but it's very interesting to see a different approach on it, and it definitely feels more like the modern show. And I get it; most of the stuff we've seen in this dub has been modern, so it makes sense. But Conan feels very different in the modern take when the art style fully changed, and these voices match that art style, which is
Yeah,
perfect 'cause that's what they're going for. But I feel like if they didn't change the names necessarily, and I don't agree with these people, but this is what the people think, Funimation's biggest drawback was the censoring for the first 52 episodes of Adult Swim, and then also the poor marketing, which TMS I feel is doing worse, which I don't know how because you're paying for it. But I definitely feel like it has more incline than it did with Funimation, just because it's doing so well on Crunchyroll. It was doing well on Netflix while it was on Netflix. It had that rare 5-star rating, and for a jumble of random episodes, that's something that's a real feat. But I really think that the name changes were a necessary thing to change them back to what they were to calm outsiders because they had a huge deal with that. But when I tell people, and like you guys have heard it a dozen times, when I learned that Gosho made those name changes, and then you tell those people that, they shut up. And it's very interesting. It's a really interesting weapon to use on a forum, when you probably there's better things to be arguing about. But it shuts them up. Like Jodie Foster, and her character Shuri Starling created Jodie Starling. Jimmy Kudo, Jimmy and Shinichi both mean one truth. These are just some examples. Rand Mori perfectly translate to Rachel Moore. Like it is the direct translation if she were to come here. Richard, while it isn't a translation from Kogoro, Richard also means dick, which also means detective, and Kogoro's a dick. He's a jerk, you know. They were clever. Ayumi to Amy, it's a small difference, but there was really no other correlation between that. But I don't know. I like the name changes, and maybe that's just because I fell in love with the show of that version, and that's fine. But I also respect Gosho Oyama because he's a pure genius. Just like he quoted for Sherlock Holmes in the beginning, you know, a real guy had to make him up, you know, and I don't know. That's just my tangent on that.
Yeah.
But
For the time, I guess localization was the biggest thing, and almost everyone was doing it back in the day. Like even Pokemon was localized for the Western market.
mhm. I did,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I just want to see Case Closed succeed this round. I feel like we all have suffered long enough, especially people like me and Professor C, and I'm sure Joby. Like me and Professor C were around the same time of the sense of like getting into the show with in the Japanese because I started following his page like in like his page's infancy, like down to the point where you know when if you remember when you had those panels and stuff like that, like um, and how long ago that was. But like Professor C hasn't known it till recently, but I've been attached to his hip without him knowing it. Um, and it's been a wild ride, but I kind of hope that TMS Entertainment, especially if they do hit a master plan for Case Closed, that they give it more of a push with marketing because we got one for the trial and the video was taken down and was like never seen again. So like everything gets a Twitter post. One Twitter post, that's all they get. And Movie 23 didn't even get theirs right away. It was like weeks after, and then there's like, yeah, let's tweet about it. But there was one trailer for the trial episode 1 remake, and it was a 90s style commercial that was pretty close to like the Funimation commercial. And I'm like, that's so cool. And then they took it down because they put it up too early, and they never put it back. Um,
Yeah.
and small marketing like that is enough because those videos go, you know, people share them, they upload them in multiple places.
Well,
Instead of
when
just
it did debut, it went nuts. I
yeah.
mean, I remember that.
Um, I mean, there were YouTube videos coming out of the woodworks just talking about it. Of course, they weren't re-uploading at the time because it was a video that was taken down, which gets
Mhm.
flagged and stuff like that. You don't want to re-upload that. But if it's a video that went up and it stays up, you usually can. Um, but when it's taken down, it's dangerous to do that, so they don't. But I seen people who this like you know come out of the woodworks talking about it, and it flooded my stuff for a day or two. And the one thing that they can do right is marketing, because that's the one thing Funimation faulted in. And if a lot of you guys don't know, or this is your first time listening to the podcast where I have talked about once before, Funimation, I don't really look into them now, especially now that Crunchyroll and Funimation are under the same umbrella. I'm just treating them all as anime at this point. I haven't watched a real anime since 2017, so I don't even care anymore. But at the time, it was ran, and I'm sure it still is, by the same guy, by a very proud Japanese man. Can't admit defeat, can't admit failure. And with the poor marketing choices of Case Closed, he admitted that yes, they could have done a season 6. Yes, they could have continued doing what they were doing. That they had the license and everything for that stuff. It wasn't like we had to go out of our way and continue to put money into this. Money was already spent. Money could go out. They could do this, but they messed up on it so bad that it was just like not just like a non-recoverable thing because The DVDs were still doing well, especially with the save editions. But it was a sense of he can't admit his own defeats to try to clarify and fix something, that it's better off just to let it die. And it wasn't like it was doing overly successful. It was doing enough. It was meeting. It was making the money back and so forth. There was no reason to fully put a stake in it. And ever since then, I can't hear that Funimation logo. And like when you watch an anime, every single time I hear it, something deep inside of me gets triggered, and I don't know what it is, and it hurts because I really like watching Lupin, and I gotta hear it every single time. But I just hope this is one thing that TMS Entertainment can do right this time. They're not doing it so far, but I'd like to think if they are gonna push a dub, which comes with a lot of money in terms of they have a higher stake in this. When it comes to a full-on dub, I would like to see them put forward, because as longtime fans, especially the old fans, we're upfront paying with our wallets now, like we said we would. And it would be nice if you were to pay with your wallet, like you're already putting some money into this. It would be nice to see you put fully into this. And it just doesn't make sense when it looks like they're using this dub as a sense to extend the life of Conan, because Conan is ending. We know who the boss is. We know who the number 2 in command is, both fully by identity wise, just not by shadowy figures. This show can't go on much longer with those being, we know Vermouth is huge in suspect of relation to into the boss. We know that number 2 in command is looking into Kudo Shinji and Yusaku Kudo. Like, we're at a part where you can't draw this out much longer. This dub looks like a thing of trying to push out the longevity of the show, and
Mhm.
it just like you gotta put money into it to get money. And there are people in Japan even, and people like JoeB who said, like, yes, I watched the dub and it's not even native to my country per se, and but they enjoyed it, they watched it, sometimes that's how they got into it. And the Funimation dub did very well in Japan too, in the sense of fans. And I think this is another double source of income for Japan as well. It's not just for us. It was very interesting to see Amazon, especially when they started releasing the English dubs of these movies, they immediately dropped Japanese versions beside them, which I thought was very interesting. Not just, oh, here's the dub movies. It was very interesting to see them do that. I'm sure those movies were on Japan's Amazon account, I'm sure, at one point, but it was very interesting to see them come over to us. And it makes sense from a marketing standpoint for them to uh continue doing this dub, because it's an international dub. It's Singapore, it's here in America. And I'm sure Japan, like I said, will dip their toes in that fund as well, in terms of buying media for that. So
Well, I think the question too is, do they want to continue now just forward with films, or are they going to start working their way into that back catalog and
yeah,
just kind of go backwards?
I totally see
Um,
them keep going backwards. This is the exact pattern I see. I don't know about the dub. We talked about that multiple times. I'm not gonna touch that again. But what I do see them doing is, for example, launching movie 24, then launching movie 18, maybe then doing 17, 16, then 25, then going back and keep going back and forward. I hate that they're doing that, because you know actors get better as they go forward, and this is giving a mixed batch of performances. You'll be watching, by the time they get to, let's say they do movie 1 again, they're gonna sound so great, and then you're gonna get to like movie 22, their first appearance, you're gonna be like, why does this sound so off?
God, I hope
um
they don't do movie one again. That dub was excellent.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
but like you're also trying to keep a full continuity. People are gonna watch movie 1 and be like, "Who the hell's Jimmy?" And it hurts to have to hear that. And I just also, one other pet peeve I have, I just wish that Conan in his head would speak in Griffin Burns' voice. It would just
Yeah.
mean something to me. Um, But
That was something that Funimation did really well.
yeah, and the Funimation, like I've talked to our Bruce Elliott in the sense of, and he still has Richard deep inside of him, and it's great. He told me that he would fake punch, not actually, obviously, Allison Victorin in the head and Yell Conan. Like, it's great stuff, and they loved these characters. Our Bruce Elliott constantly had his Facebook profile picture as Richard Moore. Uh, Jerry Jewell, when I spoke to him and had him sign a CD, he even said that, if there was one character he could ever voice again, he was between two characters. I don't remember who the other one was, but the other one was Jimmy Kudo. And it was just like, these people loved these characters. And the one thing I liked about the new dub was the night before, or 2 nights before, or whatever, before the first closed screenings, all of the characters came forward and posted a unique art of a brand new render of the character, and was just like, I'm voicing this character. And it was a nice way to, like, for them to step out in the forefront and show their love for these characters, because a lot of them wrote stuff like, like Xander Mobus. He was somewhat a fan, or somewhat, like, he said it was an honor for him to jump in on this because he knew how big of a project it was. He knew
Yeah.
the legacy behind it, and it was nice to see some form of love. This wasn't just like a faceless project, and that is somewhat of media because, Xander Mobus, number one, not to exclude any of the other wonderful voice talent, because I think Sherry and Akai's voices are impeccable, and everyone loved Jin apparently. I liked him, didn't say he was bad, but he didn't steal the show for me like everyone said, was for them. I think he's a great Jin voice.
Yeah.
But it was nice to
I
see.
can't be 24.
Oh my god, you
Yeah.
don't even. He stole the show. He's the best voice by far. Um, but it was very nice to see these characters come out. And Xander Mobus is huge. He did Persona 5, Super Smash Brothers. That's a great source of marketing right there for him just to come forward and then also be a main character.
Well, in his
Um,
introduction, he had said that he had grown up watching the show.
yeah. That's what I thought I said. That's what I thought I heard, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to mistreat wrong information. But I knew that he knew the legacy behind the character, and that's why I went with that route. Because I try not to spread misinformation here. So now that you said that, and that's what I was thinking in my head, I'm great to know that was fully the fact too, because I was afraid to say anything. So
So this was their posts on Twitter, right?
yeah,
Or
they all posted individually on. It was a beautiful thing, and
yeah.
it hyped it up. It drove it like, oh, this isn't literally just like a paid for fan dub. That's what they made it sound like. I'm not
Mhm.
exaggerating. When they first showed off the trailer, for like, oh, at this con, it didn't even sound like TMS fully had their hand in it either. Like, it just sounded like, like, hey, ever want to see what Conan sounds like dubbed again? Like, that's what it sounded like, and it was just really beautiful. Like, in the mental imagery, it was like all of them were walking out onto a stage, holding each other's hand and like doing a vow, saying like, "This is what we're doing. We know how important it is, and we love these characters." And it wasn't even, you had like, who knows how much they recorded at that time when they came out and said that. Naturally, the movie was in the beta phase enough to be shown because it was being shown shortly after, but it was very interesting for them to already feel that connection of we love these characters. It's not just like, oh yeah, we did this, it was a project that we did and this is who we're doing. It had a lot of heart behind it, which you can feel, but at the same time it feels a bit dry just because of the direct translation approach that they're taking. But it made me excited to see what would happen with it. And when I got my hands on the early dub, I didn't want it to end. I was almost in tears, and the fact that it was unfinished on top of it, was a beautiful thing. Just I feel like I was like one of like the only people to experience this from this standpoint, not just from actually being behind the closed door, which I'm sure was 20 times better. But there's
Yeah.
just something about being one of the only people sitting on your couch and watching it on a flat screen TV in the dark. Um, was a very different, it wasn't like I was watching an English dub movie for the first time because I saw Zero the Enforcer in Japanese. And what I wanted to do with movie 24 was, for the first time, watch this movie in Japanese. I mean, watch it in English for the first time. And sure enough, we got the Japanese version of the movie. Sure enough, I watched it, and I'm glad because I don't remember anything about it. The movie to me did not live up to the hype that was behind it, and I kind of hope that it
Yeah.
has the Crimson Love Letter, Zero the Enforcer approach to me, where the dub version of this movie will draw me into it. I just wasn't feeling it, and maybe it was because it was the version that you actually shared with me, JoeB, with all the
Yeah.
mistranslations in it, and maybe that's why I couldn't get sucked into it. But I'm so glad because I don't remember anything. I remember one scene with a bullet. Not gonna say anything about it, but that's
Oh,
all I
yeah.
remember, and it was in the train, so I'm sure, like, you remember, it was
Mhm.
near the end. Um, and I don't remember anything else, so I'm still feeling like it's somewhat of a experience. I feel like it was more I watched a long trailer in my head. That's where I feel like I'm at. So I'm still somewhat excited to, like, 80% see this for the first time dubbed. Um, but it's interesting just to see the approach with it, but I just wish it had a little bit more marketing behind it, but it was nice to see the actors, step out in that way.
Yeah. Like movie 24 is something that I hope is elevated in the dub because I watched the movie through and through. I had to edit it as well, like
Mhm.
for the reaction video. So I went through it completely. I remember everything, but it still doesn't live up to the hype because
Yeah.
we've been waiting for this movie for almost 2 years
Yeah.
or a year. Yeah,
It's the longest Conan cycle. But I
yeah,
feel like this is a double-edged sword. Um, for two reasons. One, and I already forgot exactly what I was going to say, so I'm just going to make this up as I go along. It's a good thing for two reasons because yes, this is our longest turnaround for a Conan movie, and yes, it sucked knowing that the movie was finished sitting on a hard drive for an entire year. But they were able to polish up that movie and also start working on movie 25 early. And
mhm,
what's nice about this is they're going to be so ahead of the game now, where we can get these dubs at a much faster turnaround. um, because the movies are going to come out at they're going to be in a more finished state where they can jump in and start dubbing before the movie even hits the Japanese theaters. That's pretty
mhm,
much what happened with movie 18. They had the time to turn around and dub it. That movie has been dubbed, um, and it's just waiting on a release. I don't know if movie 18 started around the same time, but I know that it is right now within well under active development, and whether, like I said, they release that first or second, it looks like movie 24 is going to release in March. So let's, hope for that. But it's a good thing because the show, it's going to have a quick turnaround in the future to come, no matter how many more movies we get. But speaking of movie 25, because we have that on our list to talk about, what I think is very interesting is that movie 25 is following a more spin-off approach. And yes, you could say
yeah,
all these movies are spin-offs because they're one-time stories and they're not necessarily canon. They're just as canon as a TV original. They are practically three TV originals stripped together with a budget. That's you know,
yeah,
that's how the movies work. But it's very interesting to see movie 25 follow closer to the spin-offs in the sense of Zero's Tea Time, um, or the side arcs in the actual show, the Metropolitan Police Love Stories, which is practically what Zero Tea Time is, but for a specific group of officers. And it's
mhm,
very interesting to see movie 25 take from both of those. It takes from both of them in the sense of some of those characters appeared in both of them, and they're both somewhat love stories in some way. Whether it's a bromance or an actual love story, say whatever you want on those stances. But it's very interesting to see movie 25 take that approach. And when I saw that trailer at the end of movie 24, I was very shocked because it just it's new, it's different, and it's just like Zero Tea Time. It's very interesting to see them add that to the normal episode count.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it's just gonna be that one episode, and then they're gonna do what they did like with the first run of Magic Kaido before it was 1412, where they also aired separately on their own digital count. I have no idea. What I keep
I
reading
hope
keeps
so.
going back and forth. So they keep saying, and Netflix is also behind Zero's Tea Time as a Netflix original, and it's very interesting to see if they're going to take the approach of just airing this one episode and then everything else is going to be just labeled under Zero Tea Time and have it be 12 episodes, or do
Wait,
both.
so
I
Zero
don't
Tea Time is being done by Netflix. I mean, in association with Netflix.
Yes, kind of like Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And the same thing with the spin-off, the culprit, Hanazawa,
Hmm.
or Hinoen no Hanazawa-san, whatever however you want to say it. I almost swore. I'm sorry, got passionate. However you want to describe that anime and title. They are behind both of those, and it is going to be very interesting to see if the culprit Hanazawa will take episode count in Conan as well. I kind of hope that one takes the Magic Kaido route, 1412 style, and have its own episode count because that just sounds like a silly gimmick OVA type situation where
Yeah.
it feels really misplaced. But Zero's Tea Time, unlike Magic Kaido, fits in the main series. It's just like the Metropolitan Police love stories. It fits, it makes sense, and I kind of hope all 12 episodes air in Conan's normal count before being resplit. But unlike Magic Kaido 1412, it deserved its own anime. It was telling its own story, um, following its own set of characters, and it's a real side arc for Magic Kaido, which didn't even fully get its own manga series uh, at that time for it. It had its own little old thing, and then he became a Conan character. So it was nice to see him, go in that route. But Bourbon, on the other hand, he started off as a different manga character, and then he moved into Case Closed, kind of like Kaido Kid, but became a main staple character. Kaido Kid is not a staple character. Kaido Kid is a filler episode character in manga-based files. But Kaido Kid has only appeared in one Men in Black episode, uh, and he said that Kaido Kid will never again, which he lies to us all the time. He says, he's gonna retire at 52. He's still here. And Kaido Kid just appeared in another episode, but he wasn't facing with the Men in Black, so maybe you could say it was a twist on words or lost in translation because he didn't go head to head this time with the Men in Black. He just appeared in a Men in Black episode. But it's very interesting to see then just treat the spin-offs as the main series. And that also brings me to the other point of the TV originals are slowing down. They were last season, 90% of the show was TV original. It was sickening. And that's really where I fell off for a while again. And I'm still currently trying to watch the TV originals while being practically caught up. I'm only 3 main episodes behind right now. But like I still probably got 20 TV originals to watch because I just been skipping them and I keep trying to go back and watching them.
Yeah,
And
the
but the
main
fact
reason, yeah.
that the TV originals are slowing down is an interesting fact. Is then they're also adding these manga-based file episodes of spin-offs, but they're still manga-based. Is interesting because it makes me think not only is a show already coming to an end, it feels like they're trying to gear a, trying to get the most content they can out of their already established stuff before. Because I mean, it's not cheap to make TV originals. A lot of scripting, uh, Go having to practice to see if these things will work, stuff like that has to go into effect, and that's a lot of money. What they're practically getting out of adaptating these, or I'm going to use a Go term here. It's not really a Go term; it's an industry term, but Go would understand it because he's a huge American sitcom fan. Is what you get that are called bottle episodes, and bottle episodes are low budget, and they are contained usually in a small space on a set. To where you don't have to use a lot of money to make extra props and stuff like that and extra scenes of other places. It's a really contained episode. And that's pretty much what these manga based files are doing. They are practically bottle episodes as the material is already there. They have the script, they have the animation in the sense of the characters' reactions of how it's supposed to look. The whole storyboard is there. It is literally adaptating it and getting the voice actors that you were going to have there anyway. Um, and it's very interesting to see them take that approach into the normal episodes instead of just making those on the side and making double the income from it. And it makes me think that what they're doing is a way to accommodate to do less TV originals, keep more original content coming that is manga based, and being able to keep close to the episode count that they would be nearing the mangas. Do I think we're ever going to get much closer than 4 months apart from the manga? No, we're always 4 to 6 months apart. I think maybe at the most we might get down to 3, but
Yeah.
you can tell that they're definitely trying to keep it close. It's it's a very different approach that they're taking, and I'm glad because I don't want to see a 90% increase of TV originals again. Um, that was the worst season by far in terms of TV originals. Not saying it was a bad season, but I'm here for the plot. I'd like to see Men in Black. Even just the FBI is nice. A new character, and which is nice because when you have a show of 40 main characters and you see a character come in after 150 episodes and they just hold the same amount of impact, when you have a series like that, like this, it is a very magical thing. Sure, it's hard. It's just funny how those numbers crunched out, but it's just interesting.
Oh, y'all
Yeah,
there?
Hello.
yeah.
About to say.
I was done. I was ready to let someone else speak.
Okay. No, I mean it's interesting where it's going. I mean it's curious to see how much longer it will go. I think with what a cash cow it is, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's got to be some egging on to continue forward, with everything.
And that's where I see a spin-off series coming, like a new generation. I totally see that. And we talked about that before, so I'm not going to delve into it. The only point I will say is I think by the end of the series, because we can jump into this topic here, we have Gosho's happy ending statement that he brought up. He says that he has only told 1 or 2 other people of the ending of Detective Conan in case something were to ever happen to him. There is that ending in a script somewhere in a vault, or safe, or whatever terminology you want to use. And his happy ending statement really makes me think, all these people that have all these differences are gonna, change. Uh, Sherry might have a happy ending, which she so deserves, not just because I love Sherry, but she deserves it. Shinichi and Ram being together, Kogoro and Eri patching up. Stuff like that. I would declare as a happy ending. So I could see in the sense of a happy ending, irony and marketing reasons. I see Shinichi and Ran, a little foreshadowing. They have a child, they name him Conan, and the next show could still be called Detective Conan because it's, his name is Conan. It's marketing genius. I took marketing class, so I feel like I have some idea to read the situation. I could be 100% wrong, and that's fine. But that's just how I read and assess the situation. I'm not going to get too deep into that because we have in previous podcasts, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the show is going to take it. Because it would be dumb not to. Like you all said, it's a cash cow, and I feel that's another reason for the dub. It is literally, and my Funimation's paying for it. Someone else would have eventually probably have paid for that dub, and maybe have done something with it. Because no one could do anything when Funimation had it. It was, I mean, Funimation was bought out Crunchyroll, or vice versa. It's all owned by Sony, so it's not really like Funimation bought. It was Sony bought. Sorry for that wordplay. Bought out Funimation and bought out Crunchyroll, which already owned Funimation. So now they're the king of anime. But when they uploaded the first 130 episodes, or 124 really, Funimation had them taken down because they said we own the streaming rights. And then uh, when they bought out Crunchyroll, I'm like, what was the point of this? Like, there already had to be some ink on paper, or like that this acquisition was going to go through. What is the point of practically going after your own company at that point? But I mean, I'm sure there's other reasons for it, and fine. But like, and now the episodes are back up.
Yeah, with the remastered
Yeah,
versions of them.
but it's I do definitely feel like someone would have done something, whether it's just the movies. I feel like someone would have grabbed up the license, whether it would have been Discotheque fully, because those were in the rumor mills before Bang Zoom and TMS and everything else came into fruition. Um, but we're in a very new territory, and yeah, I don't know. I see them cash cowing in the sense of the show can end, they can keep dubbing it, and have a new generation. That's you're just stretching out your income, and I feel that's definitely what the show is going to try to do. They could stretch it out longer by doing the entire show, but that's not going to happen. The show get canceled way before that. Um, if they're going to stretch it out, they're going to stretch it out as minimalistic as possible, and that will just be with the main manga numbers. And even then, I feel like they can do some weeding. Um, but yeah, I
I
don't know
feel
if
like
that.
if they go down the road that you said, like have a kid called Detective Conan, do you feel like it's gonna go down the Boruto road?
See, I feel like we had this conversation before, and I don't know what I said at the time, and I don't know how I feel now. I know I said something at the time, and I'm pretty sure you were the one in that podcast. I In my mindset right now, disregard what I ever said before. I want to say yes, and I also want to say no. I want to say yes in the sense of I feel it will be more centric around this kid named Conan. Yes. But I do also feel like Shinichi will have more of an appearance than Naruto did. And also, I don't watch Boruto or Naruto, so I could be 100% wrong in how that show works. Um, but from an outsider looking in and really loving Clash of Ninja 2 on the GameCube, I feel like I have some stance to talk. And seeing how they marketed that show. Um, I would say yes, in the sense of I feel like the main focus will be this kid named Conan, and I feel like that will be their clever way to call the show Detective Conan. Whether they slap New Generation or whatever at the bottom of it, um,
Could be
whatever.
an Inuyasha scenario too.
Yeah, but I totally do see Shinichi having a bigger presence. He's still gonna be solving cases. He's still gonna be a cracking wise guy. I feel like he's gonna
Gonna
have a
take the place of Kogoro, right?
I feel like he's gonna have a bigger appearance than Booker did, or Yusaku
Hmm.
Kudo, where when Yusaku Kudo came, he handed his shit to Conan or Shinichi, and was just like, you got a lot of honing to do, my son. Even like the official Crunchyroll description of the show talks about the son of a mystery book writer, like just underhanding Shinichi. And I feel like Shinichi will be that to his son. Yes, and I feel like his dad will still hand him shit too. Like I feel it will be a whole tree line. But I definitely think it'll be more focused around Conan, and then Shinichi at top, and Booker just as rare as he's always been. Um, but I think it will also bring a more slice of life to the show, which I've become a huge into a slice of life anime kind of guy. Clanhead was great. After story ripped your heart out and threw it against the wall like a wet paper towel. It's great. It's really
Yeah.
great. And I feel like I was watching the other day on Facebook. I'm scrolling, and they played some sad K-pop drama music, uh, or upbeat. I don't know how you want to say it. It's always confusing how they want you to feel. Um, Over the cherry blossom arc of Shinichi and Ran as little kids, and it melted my heart. And I was like, okay, before work, I got time, and I watched those episodes again, and it made me realize just like how this new generation could go in the sense of the characterization, because that was such a slice of life. It was so different, and my exact caption to it was it's just so nice to watch a slice of life in the mix of all these murders or some, uh way that I worded it. And I could see the new generation taking that more so approach. Like, yes, there's gonna be murders everywhere this kid walks. He will be the new demigod. Uh that our Conan is now. But I feel like it will have more slice of life because it's more family bound. You got to understand Yusaku and Yukiko. Conan's really 17. This kid will actually be 6. That's the difference between this and now. His parents live abroad. They're all going to be living in the same household. When this kid comes home from school, he's coming to Shinichi and Ran. I feel like it would be more of a slice of life, which I'm down for because this murder every week is still going to happen, but it's too much. And Shinichi and Ran are just so cute, and I would like to see a more wholesome side. And we've been on this 28-year journey or something like that of watching them be boyfriend and girlfriend, but not actually be boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, this only just became official, and I feel like it would be nice to have a whole series where they're at that point. It's they live the best part of their life, and they're just going forward with it. And I would like to see how that progresses. But that's my thought on that.
I feel like they might go down the route of still a mystery because at the end of the day, Detective Conan is a mystery show. So
I'm not saying like there will be a murder every episode. You better bet you're behind on that. It's gonna happen. But I mean, like, it's gonna be more slice of life in the sense of there's more family dynamic going on. There's no family dynamic. This 17-year-old boy in a 6-year-old body is crashing on this man's couch. He practically sleeps in a sleeping bag on his floor. And this guy's an alcoholic who is an idiot. Conan will be out there solving his own cases, being undermined by his big dad, like Yusaku does for him. It'll be a different dynamic. There most likely will be no reason to take over anybody's voice. It'll be a different approach. So, like, I feel like it's not going to be, as template as this show is now. There will be no voicing over anybody. I don't know how anyone's going to take this 6-year-old seriously, but we'll cross that bridge when they come to it. Maybe he still knocks out Richard. Maybe he takes over Conan's legacy. Like, who knows? But I also do think once again, to the happy ending statement of Go Show, I think by the end, Richard will be able to hold his own like in days of old, because what we learned in movie 14 was Richard, the reason why he's so clueless and so bad now is because of what happened between him and his wife. And I feel like if him and his wife are all good, they're all perfect again, maybe, he won't suck. We saw a few times him come into light, like the case where one of his college friends got killed and he stepped up to the plate and practically solved that case by himself. He has it in him, but he's an idiot. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just, yes, you can believe there will be deaths, more family dynamic, and a kid named Conan is still the star of the show. Like, that's how I see it. So I don't want to misconstrued with saying slice of life would fully take over. It would just be a new dynamic added because there is no slice of life here. The closest we got to slice of life was watching, them as younger, watching them form that childhood bond that we've only heard about. When it's not talking about Shinichi and Rand's past, what slice of life do we have? It's not there. And when it comes, it's in slight confessions and poor hedgy misfalls because every last place has been stole by Conan. Like the last episode I just watched, he stole another place practically, and I'm just like, I feel bad for Hedgie because I feel like this what's her name? I don't even remember her name. I hate her so much. No, this chick who says like Hedgie's gonna be my boy, my husband. He's my future husband, and she wants Kazuha like out of the picture, and I can't remember her name.
The Shogi girl or
Yeah,
something.
I can't stand her. But yeah, I don't know. Off that got into a side tangent, but you guys can say whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I feel like Conan might go down the route of the police academy stuff because as of late, like I've caught up with the manga, and so far, like the past year, so let's say 2020 2020, the manga had focused more on the Black organization. But for the past year, for some reason I have no clue why, 70% of the manga is focusing on the police academy, and not only just Conan's prefecture. It's a lot of prefectures as well. So I'm not sure why they're building the story up for the police force. Is it for the Detective Conan ending, or is it for the spin-off that's coming along the pipeline and stuff?
See, I also feel like it is more of a cash cow situation, and I could be wrong. From how I look at it, as in the sense of they already have Bourbon, and in his previous before appearance, before he became Bourbon and stuff like that, there was so much mysterious and background of the character. I feel like the Wild Police story was literally a manga made to flesh out his story, because there was so much untapped stuff there that you may as well make money on it. And he became a show face of the series. Like our group chat is called the Shonen Boys. The Shonen Boys are Shinichi, or Conan, I guess you could say, um, Bourbon and Akai. They are literally the Shonen Boys. They are labeled that in magazines in Japan. And um if you have a character that's already a poster child, he's a poster child, you have all this untapped content, and you're a manga, it makes sense. And while it is weird to see an anime adaptation of it like this, but like I said back in an earlier point, I feel it is to lesser TV originals and make more money, and it makes sense to attach it to the Metropolitan Police love stories. But it is odd to see movie 25 going that route. But once again, I see movie 25 doing that because Zero's Tea Time being a thing and incorporating it into the main story. You got all that cast together, may as well keep, making a movie and a side anime series to keep pushing it. It makes more money that way. You see a movie, so you watch the show. You see the show, you watch the movie. And you had all of the cast right then and there. It was like recording an extra 3 episodes, it makes sense to why they did it. And I'm not saying that's why they did it. It could just have happened to land that way. And then have it be like you said towards the new series or the ending. 100%. But just from looking at it from a marketing standpoint, that's what it looks like. But it's not always the way that it seems, and that's why people invest their stocks in things and then they crash miserably because it's not how it looked. So it can be totally on both sides, but that's just how I personally see it, and anyone's welcome to see it any other way because there's no guarantee that I'm right. That's just how I see it. I see it as a complete marketing reasons to why that is happening, but I don't think it has anything to do with the show. I feel it's more of a flush out of these characters than anything else.
Hmm.
Because like in movie 20, Bourbon never really talked about Masuda. The only early stuff that we ever really heard about Masuda was in the Ferris wheel case, obviously where he died, and that uh it was the person that Detective Simone or Detective Sato loved before Takaji. And that's all that we really knew of the character. And then to realize that in the Wild Police story and in movie 20 that Masuda was part of the division that Bourbon's in. And you know and he's the voice that you hear at movie 25 in the trailer, the teaser trailer. I like I said, I feel it is literally just a connecting of the dots, and just happening because they were dubbing this, and it just like, hey, let's go all out. I feel like that's where it landed. But that's my thought.
I'd kind of would not mind if the show just ended and we didn't have a continuate. Maybe like a Kaido spinoff, but I honestly would be okay with the story ending.
And, yeah,
That's how I feel. I think that we've seen so much of the series over the years that
yeah. And
if
there's
it
Yeah.
ends, just let it end and transition to something else because there's already so much content to absorb out there. By
yeah.
the time they even finish, then the conversation has to start. Well, are they ever going to sub all of it or dub part of it, or because even when they end it, the majority of people out here, out this way, really won't have
Mm,
seen how it ended or what
yeah. And
happened or
and when
anything.
they dub it, it's all take two, it's another way to watch because personally, I feel like once I watch the ending, I can't watch the show again, like beginning to end for story. As many times as I watched multiple big hitting episodes over and over again, just knowing how he gets his body back, how this fight ends, is something that I feel is going to ruin the rewatch value for me. But the dub is a new experience, and I feel like that's how I'm going to continue it. And I could see your statement too, where when the show ends, let the thing rest. I agree. Maybe a spinoff doesn't have to pick off the ground for another 5 years after the show ends, or not at all. I can see that side of the coin too, where I'm just like, I can agree. Like, I want the show to go on forever, but I want a damn ending. So, I'd be okay if Conan ended this year. Let's say, I'd be okay with that as long as it was paced out correctly, and they didn't have to rush anything. Um, but on the same side of the coin, like I say about Sonic, I love this blue bastard. Like, I don't want him to go anywhere. And in the same sense of I I would love a spinoff just so I could see these characters not die. And that's why I could see not only another category for me saying why I see a new generation type thing starting. Because one, Conan's hitting Star 5 on Netflix and Netflix is now funding Conan projects. And then the 5-star on Crunchyroll every single week since its conception, only ever dipping down to 4.9, um, is amazing. And if this dub picks off the ground, and then with the statement of a happy ending, why are you telling me there's going to be a happy ending before the ending even happens? And it makes me think it's a setup to, hey, everyone's happy, this battle's over, let's continue. And I feel like the numbers are too high. You have a city called Conan Town. You have an international airport with this kid plastered all over a train station, statues all over the city. It it just doesn't make sense to put a nail in that coffin. Um, the money that town makes a year just on the Conan Museum alone is abysmal, and I mean that in the best way of the word. Um, but I can also, like I said, see on your side where I'm just like, yes, let the show when it ends, let it settle, let it end, and have that be it, and let the show be the longevity of itself, and don't open the floodgates. But on the same time, I'm the fan who's also just like, give it to me. I'm here for it. I'll pay for it if you give it to me, but I'm not. I don't think I'm asking for it yet. I probably know that I will down the line, but I'm also the person, if Gosho were to come up with me and say, "Hey, would you pay for this?" Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
It all depends on like how uh Conan's legacy lasts after he's gone.
Yeah. But with his face plastered all over, and you could literally go into Japan and yell, "I hate Detective Conan." People are going to look at you with lust filled eyes. I've seen videos; they're hilarious. And you don't have to even be American. You could just be Japanese. It's a criminal act to say. You could think it. Don't don't scream it to the masses because 90% of the people agree. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. Go show if it does. I know he's gonna write blueprints, a Bible, but for his sake, if they do a next generation, The show's already sealed off. They can't ruin his story, and that's the one thing that is so nice about Detective Conan. Because what you have to understand is this show, besides all of its relationships, which can carry on to the next generation, is this show is about the fight against the Men in Black, whether how much this filler tells you otherwise. The next show, it's not going to have that. And you can't ruin that story. That story's over. It's closed. It's not just like, for example, I haven't watched Fruit Baskets, but that's a show that I know got a redo. And then same thing with, like you said, Inuyasha and Naruto. You can ruin those things. You know, there are story beats and stuff like that that you can just screw up and ruin. You can change character dynamics, but with the transfer from Detective Conan to Detective Conan New Generation, you really can't. Because by the end of Detective Conan, the Men in Black's taken down, most likely. Who knows? There could be a twist. All those things are closed. All those open stories. Who's Mary? Which we know who Mary is, but I'm just going back into older stuff. You know, all those things are done and over with. This is a brand new beginning, nothing tied to old. It is like a fresh start. Nothing that happened before it matters. It can literally live to be its own deity. Like, I don't know if any of you guys remember the show. I'm bringing up an old childhood show, Code Lyoko. It ran for 4 seasons. I loved it as a kid. I haven't really seen it in a very long time. But then they came out with a season 5, and they did it like a live action like series version of it. And not a lot of people liked it because it's just like you ruined it. But season 4 ended in a way where you could be like, okay, season 5, that's a whole different can of worms. The story ended in season 4 correctly. It had a real ending. The main problem at hand was defeated. It was gone, and they all moved on with their lives. I feel like Conan will have that impact where it's just like you can love or hate the new thing, call it milking, call it just being a cash cow, whatever, but it is completely irrelevant to the story and the legacy that Conan held behind him. It is literally just taking the name, keeping the same characters, brand new story, fresh coat of paint, and just characters that everyone loved for years without tarnishing everything before it. There's literally no risk to from doing it. That's just how I see Conan, and with the term of happy ending, and with the story beat just being a Men in Black who are hopefully going to end up in prison by the end of this. Yeah, but that's just my stance on that entire situation.
Yeah, it's there's quite a history with everything right now, and it's interesting. I think 25 is it's a great experience. I think for people to experience where the series is this year. I think that the tone will change a little bit next year because every movie
Yeah,
is a little
it,
different in how it approaches. So we'll see how that process goes.
and it brings like you said every year. It brings a new energy to the series every year. Like this year has felt like the year of spin-offs, and the movie is the cake of that example. Last year, the entire year felt like an action-paced adventure, whether the TV originals, manga-based episodes, and the movie. Every year the movies hold what the show is going to bring forward, or the series, I should say, for that year to come. So I am very interested to see movie 26's trailer in April, because that's coming up. I'm really excited to see what the next year of Conan has for us. If anybody has anything else to say.
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I lost you there for a minute there. Sorry.
I was just like, hello. But yeah, so to recap what I just said, was about how every movie holds out, what the year of Conan has in store for us. I would like to see what
Hello?
hello.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah.
In April, we're gonna see movie 26's teaser, and I will love to see what it's going to look like for Conan for the year ahead, because they are always such prime examples of what to expect from the series. Like, we all expected uh, some bigger uh, wild police type stories in Detective Conan coming forward when we saw movie 25's teaser. Did we expect they were going to adaptate the series? No. Did we expect them to throw it in the normal episode count? No, but it's what they did. Um, it is a very nice way to see what is happening in the series, and I'm excited to see what movie 26 brings to the series. For all we know, movie 26 could lead with Shinichi fully being an adult. I don't think that's going to happen. Uh, but
I
like, I
doubt
would,
that.
would
Yeah.
you know how weird that would be if like showing us before like the manga or like the TV show like came down to that point, and we just see an episode where it's just completely Shinichi, and that's never going to happen. But I'm just saying, like, it's just how far ahead these movies are. They
Yeah.
show us things that we, like movie 24, for example, with Mary at the end, what she did. I'm not going to spoil that for anybody. Mary never came in contact with this character yet, even in the series. And same thing with movie 18 with Okiya Subaru-san at the end with speaking in his real voice, and that was well before the Scarlet Return. Um, it's the movies are always a nice projection of what the series is going to do, whether it's the movie itself, the teaser, or the first trailer. And I'm really excited to see for movie 26 and where it takes place. I kind of hope it doesn't do anything stupid again like Singapore. Uh, as much as I loved the setting of that movie, I didn't think Rand could get any stupider. Uh, but she sure did. Uh, with believing Arthur wasn't Conan and that Conan isn't Shinichi. She's really
Yeah, that was a
desensitized.
little strange. That
She
was a
really,
little weird to me.
yeah, she
I
really
didn't buy that one.
she really desensitized herself, and it made it even worse in the dub for this movie for two reasons. Hearing it in English and not reading it makes it stand out a whole lot more. And then also, there was a character named Rachel in that episode, and then just hearing these English voices saying the name Rachel in a case closed environment um, didn't sit right with me. But
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I couldn't buy that one. That one had me lost a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see kind of where it goes. Ultimately, I'm excited to see what 25 brings and kind of what it what's gonna happen going forward. I think luckily we've had a lot of good things happen this year, so I think that's a really good thing for fans to just kind of be able to sit back and absorb the content now, and it's just been an amazing thing.
and 23 is the only movie. Oh, and I can't say that because Crimson Love Letter is number one on my hate list. But so I only watched that one once too. But I forget about that movie all the time, so it just didn't cross my mind. But movie 23, since I don't despise it as much as 21, and now thinking about it, I probably should. It's the only one, not including Crimson Love Letter, that I've only watched once in the dub so far. I watched all of them a few times. I just haven't. Now that we just brought it up, I didn't realize it till just now. It is the only one I watched once and didn't watch it again. But I enjoyed it. It wasn't like I was like, oh my god, can't believe I'm watching this. I was excited. I believe I ordered a pizza that night, or at least made a pizza. Um, but it's I don't know. But I'm gonna let Professor C here pick the next topic to talk about because give him some time to shine here.
I actually need to jump off, guys.
Ah,
I've
okay.
gotta I've got to get up pretty early tomorrow. But it was fun getting together and having this chat. I hope we can do it again real soon.
Yeah. My page is a huge success, and but when it comes to the YouTube side of things, it's still growing, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to market it. And I'll be honest, I haven't tried. So, but it's something I definitely want to try pushing more, especially with more movie announcements, more dub announcements, and just more story, things that are happening, progressing with the series going forward. Like bigger things that are happening. But yeah, but it was a pleasure having you, Professor C, and I look forward to next time. And we'll probably be wrapping this up soon anyway. But it was nice. It was nice having you.
Hey, it was good talking to you guys, and hopefully we can do this again soon. Just hit me
Yeah,
up. We're all connected on Discord, so
for
it's
sure.
it's good to talk to y'all both after quite a while. So let's do this again soon, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hopefully.
sometime. I think one fun way to grow all of our channels. Uh, we should all play. I think my computer can handle 3 people on Discord. I hope so. And because I built my own computer. And we can maybe do a let's play of the Wii game.
Oh,
Uh,
that'd be nice. Yeah.
or even I have the Game Boy games too with English patches. But I think that'd be a fun way to
For sure.
yeah, just to have a fun, laughable game night. Maybe we can do that sometime, figure that out. But that's an idea.
Sounds good to me. Well, I'll
All right.
catch y'all
Yeah.
later. Y'all take care, okay?
All right, you too.
See ya.
All right, later.
Later.
Bye.
All right, it's you, me, and Craig. Well,
Yeah.
um, let's see, what other points do we have? New detective crossover, and this is when I wanted to talk about it. I'm so sad Professor C left on this note. But it
Yeah.
marketing, because they market somewhat for Detective Conan, but not for English, but for the Japanese audience they market. And
Hmm.
recently, for time slots that they've been sharing, with or not sharing or coinciding or next to or whatever, they've been doing promotional art with these characters next to each other. I don't even remember what the anime was. I believe one of them was My Hero Academia. I could be wrong. Um, but they are, drawing these characters next to each other and then posting it all over social media. And it makes me wonder, like, could we get another Detective Conan crossover collaboration like we did for Lupin? Like, what they did for Lupin made sense. Both were creative. One was they were counterparts to each other. It made sense. Uh, and they both loved their art style so much that they couldn't compromise, that they just went 50-50. And I thought that was something so unique. And Conan's not, how popular it is. It's not like against crossovers. It's usually done without Gosho's consent. Like
Yeah.
there are animes that will do the bow tie, knockout wristwatch thing. A guy who completely ripped off Kaido Kid in all black before Magic Kaido did it. And then what I say, just because I have a friend who loves Sailor Moon, I make fun of her for Tuxedo Man, because I'm like, it's just a Kaido Kid ripoff. And then me and her have an argument which character really came out first. But we're like showing mangas and stuff and dates and going. It's just like the argument of Sonic and the Chaos Emeralds and Dragon
Mm.
Ball Z. Like, you can argue either way, but one way is way more apparent than the other. And so yeah, what's your stance? Do you think we could ever get another crossover that's not Lupin, or even just another
Yeah.
Lupin crossover?
Yeah.
I
I
am.
mean, like before we had like the Kindaichi Files crossover, I believe once.
Yeah.
So I feel like something like that could happen again. I mean, Conan even had a whole episode where they did a collaboration with the TV.
Yeah.
So I don't see why having a collaboration with other anime is a big stretch. I feel like so far they've only done with like uh heists and like criminal or mystery shows.
Hmm.
But I feel like they could actually do it with other TMS properties.
You know what hurt me the worst with a Lupin crossover? It was the funniest thing in the entire movie, besides maybe the ongoing Papa jokes
Hmm.
and the take responsibility sign. Um, I would say the funniest moment, and the moment that hurt me the most, was at the very end. Lupin lowering down to go steal a jewel or whatever, and Kaido Kid
Yeah.
left the card. Sorry, I got to it first type thing. And then he says, I'll never forget this kid. And then it did the Kid versus Lupin. And then Conan pops up and says, it's just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a Detective Conan crossover. Kaido Kid's practically a Conan character. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I want that. Conan doesn't have to even be in it. He can be in it. But Battle of the Thieves, I really don't know why they just. I think what they could have done was say, come out 2020, haha, it's a joke, and then in 2021 actually do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna happen. Especially since when they dubbed the episode, the movie, and they kept that joke in there, which I don't know why they would have taken it out. But it just makes me think we're never gonna get that, and it's such a shame.
Yeah.
I don't even think we're gonna get another Conan crossover. And if we do, it would be a special again.
Yeah.
And the fact that they kept these two stories intertwined, like the special is related to the movie. There's
Mhm.
relation to the city and the country that they were in. Characters interline. The hotel that they go to is the same hotel that the princess was almost killed in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, uh, so I don't know, because I feel like if they did, they'd have to keep it connected again, and I don't see them doing that.
Yeah. What
But
other shows do you think that would be a good fit for Conan?
ooh, uh, I feel for the dub Death Note just because Conan already sounds like it here.
Yeah.
But no, really, in the real sense, would be another good show. That's a good question. I don't think I have that answer. Um, huh. Yeah, no, I don't have that answer. And I
Attack
feel
on
like oh god, that would be hilarious. No, it would Conan, I feel like if it does join a show, it has to be a show of uh without magical powers type
Yeah.
thing. Unless if it really did the spin-off approach of like it was all a dream type thing.
Mhm.
Like, Stranger of 9 Years
Or
or
just
10 Years.
Isekai Conan somewhere.
Yeah. Uh, no. Would I like to see something like a Conan Inuyasha crossover that's hilarious? Yes, but like, I'm also not a huge Inuyasha fan. I've seen bits and pieces. It is a show that I can watch and not get bored, and I maybe should go step up and actually go watch it fully. I just recently was watching it with somebody, but
Mhm.
I never really sat down and said, "Hey, let me watch this." But I was
I
also that way with Conan, so
Yeah. I feel like if they did cross over with the show, it would be a show that's based out of Tokyo, or maybe it's based in Tokyo but has a very small scale.
Persona 5. Oh god. I
Oh, no, that would actually
I
be Akechi would clash a lot with Conan.
I would pay for that.
Uh, yeah, it would be really cool. Like if
Um,
they could somehow figure out something.
yeah, I don't know. Uh, but going back onto the thing of crossovers, this isn't really a crossover, but one of our lines that I have here. It's another shame that Professor C is not here to talk about this. Maybe next time we have him on, we'll make him re-answer this, and since we already know the answer, we can
Yeah,
just go and jump in with that. The one bullet point I have for a new possible mainline gadget for near endgame. So like how we have the shoes, the glasses, the belt, the suspenders. Uh, what kind of gadgets would you like to see towards like an endgame type thing? I don't even have a first clue idea of one, but I just thought this would be a cool thing to talk about because I definitely do think we are going to get another mainline gadget that
yeah,
will, but like it won't come near until near the end game, and it'll be a gadget that he uses until the end, along with his other big ones that have had so much clout from now to then. Like how the
mhm,
fireworks soccer ball came in, but that's more of a movie thing. Um,
yeah,
but like I would like to see like if you have any thoughts or not. I don't have one.
yeah. I
But I'm
mean,
just
yeah, I
curious.
have one, but oh, I don't think I think our audio got cut out for a bit, and I said like a gun, which he shoots the boss.
Straight up gun. Oh god, movie 13 vibes. Just
Yeah.
how those tables have turned. Uh,
Another one
irony.
that I was thinking, yeah. Another one that I had in mind was something that's from the FNAF franchise, and it's called it's a disc it's called a disruption disc. So what it does is it causes hallucinations through vibrations. So
See,
yeah,
do I think that will happen? I don't know,
no.
because they had something like that for with the choker from
Mm-hmm.
from Okia Subaru. Um
Mm-hmm.
that uses vibrations to change the your vocal cord sound. So I could see something with vibrations being adequate to Conan's arsenal, but that no, it would be interesting. But I feel like that's too OP. I feel like it has to be something that can miss. Um, or and like how would he not get in the fire of that? I feel at that point just put like hallucinogen on one of his darts and just shoot him. Um, but yeah, no, that is an interesting idea. And like Conan's out of the realm of possibility with half of his gadgets anyway, so it's fine. Um, no, that is interesting. It's better than what I can come up with because I don't know why I even wrote this because I don't have a single clue. I wrote this because I thought it'd be a fun topic, but I didn't think how hard it would be to think of one on the spot. See, I didn't finish my homework. I told everyone four points, and I didn't even come up with what I would answer to that. I just thought it'd be fun. Uh, I feel like it would be. I feel like he needs another wearable uh gadget. I feel like it'd be a gadget he has to wear, another clothing item. What is he missing? He's got his shoes, he's got his belt, he's got suspenders. I feel like the suspenders need to make a comeback. If they came back more full circle, I feel like that'd be like a new gadget in it of itself because they don't use it anymore. Um, he's got his glasses, which are filled to the brim. Um, you know what? Let his shoelaces do something. I feel like you know, uh, let his shoelace let his shoelaces do something. I don't know what, but his shoelaces need to do something where he could take them out and have him do something. I don't know. He everything that he wears already does something. I don't know. Uh, maybe have his like shoelaces compressed to break things. That'd be pretty interesting. If he ties them around something and presses the button like suspenders, they compress. Maybe like to break a lock or something. I don't know. Something to infiltrate the Men in Black, even. I don't know. I feel really dumb now that I wrote this because I got nothing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, going back to like the gadgets, like do you have anything that you think might be something that an old gadget that you think might come back?
Oh, okay. Well, like from the ones I have listed, they're all here and they all have their somewhat, his belt comes and
Mm-hmm.
goes, big in the movies. His shoes are a staple. His glasses with the telescopic vision, night vision, tracking glasses, the eavesdropping, wristwatch stun guns here. The wristwatch light is there. It comes and goes. The skateboard and all its variants. It's really just the suspenders that I could think of that come and go. The bento box fax machine would be hilarious to make a comeback, but that can stay in
Yeah.
episode 10. Um, I don't really think he has any older gadgets. I don't know. I feel like I would like to see, even if they were to build upon a gadget, like the glasses were constantly built upon. I would like to see his
Mhm.
bow tie do something differently, like take
Yeah.
over radio frequencies. Would be really cool. Um, Maybe that could be a way for him to trick the Men in Black. That'd be a cool gadget.
Mhm.
To overtake walkie talkies with his voice and not have to have a walkie talkie himself. Um,
Yeah.
would be really cool. Or even connecting gadgets together to fuse something like his bow tie working with his glasses in some way. Um, you know, to talk over a bug that he planted so he could hear what they're saying but talk over it. Which I mean, I guess he kind of
Yeah.
has this, and this is the gadget I would like to see the comeback. The speaker. Oh, what was it called? It was like a sticker that was a speaker, and it attached to the button of his jacket, and he would constantly put it on the back of Richard's neck, or sometimes in
Or
the middle of his forehead. I
Mhm.
would love to see that make a return. Even if it were to work with a bug, so you could speak over the bug and then also hear what they're saying, but not be in the same room as them and use that as a tactic. Because
Mhm.
like I said multiple times, I think the way Rand's going to figure out, it's going to be Men in Black. They're going to be cornered. They're going to be in an isolated room. He's going to have to come clean, and he's going to need to use those gadgets to the best of his ability to, you know, come out on top and
Yeah.
protect Rand. I definitely do think there has to be some new gadget to give it some new fresh flair, not relying on old stuff. And even if the new stuff gets him somewhere, it could fail him and then he has to rely on old reliables. But like
Mhm.
I would I would just like to see an interesting take, because the last thing I remember getting introduced to the series that was brand new was the soccer ball belt. And that was introduced in the 300s.
Yeah.
So I would like to I would like to see something new on that point. But I think we pretty much hit all of our bullet points here.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think.
that's good. So I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if you have any more final touches.
No, I just wanted to ask Professor C about the dubs, the fan dubs that are going on, like his Silver Bullet files and stuff. But I guess we can save that for next time.
Yeah. And that'd be a good bullet point, because as much as I love him, is how friendly he is and how much I enjoy his presence. Sometimes he doesn't have to go in knowing one thing, and he's
Yeah.
just a blast to talk to. And he has good ideas that come off on those. He didn't do his homework. It still says pending. Um,
Yeah.
so we can give that to him as a bullet point for next time.
That and his other project, which was the last time I spoke to him, it was the Singapore dub.
Yeah.
So we can
Um,
ask him an update on that as well.
but yeah, I mean, it's all interesting stuff all the time at Case Closed. Whether it's old stuff, new stuff from old stuff, it's
Hmm.
all great. And I still got to watch the Singapore episodes. I got them from him. He gave them to me.
Hmm.
They take up a lot of file space. I really should watch
Yeah.
them. Not like I'm ever going to delete them. It's a nice piece of history.
Hmm.
Um, but as much as we talk about the Singapore dub, it's definitely third on my list. I think Funimation's the best. I think Bing Zoom's the next best. And while Singapore, it was great, I really didn't like Conan's voice all that much. That's just me. Everyone else was
Hmm.
fine. I still prefer to other counterparts over them, but I would have been fine. Like me and Professor C were talking about. I would be fine if some of those characters came from the Singapore dub and reprise some of their roles. I
Hmm.
think Dr. Agasa would have been a better choice from there. Um, but I still, I don't know where Doc's Italian this went. He is a Japanese Italian guy, and he does not
Yeah.
sound Italian in the Bing Zoom, and it's the only character that drives me up the wall. And I'm sorry to that voice actor, and it's probably not even his fault, probably.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot better, but maybe it's just me coming to terms with it. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I will be salty until the end of day with it, I'm sure. Um, I'm sure I'll need the actual series and then getting into like the 200s or so uh to be okay with it. Like I'm warmed up to it. I can live with it. I'm not happy about it, but I can mask it pretty well.
Uh-huh.
But um
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say. I talked through my bullet points. My
Yeah. You
brain
know
is
what?
my
Let's just go from one blue guy to another.
one blue by to another.
Yeah, Sonic,
So
right?
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end mine here,
Uh-huh.
and then I will you can just keep recording on your end, and you can split however you want. And then if we want to upload the Sonic stuff, we can. Because I do have some stuff to talk on that. But let's end up this right here. So Professor C can no longer say goodbye. He ghosted us like Kaido Kid. Just jumped off that building. He didn't even kiss my hand and say ciao. It was a pleasure. He just kind of rudely left. Just kidding. Love you, fam. But I'm going to end this episode here of episode 7 of the Case Closed podcast. Just remember, this is your one-stop shop for all your Case Closed needs. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. That's weird. It kept giving me an error saying like abort recording, and I'm like, hello. But no, we'll see what happens. It says 30% right now, but it keeps coming up with like failed to abort recording.
Oh no. At least we have Craig.
I'm sorry, Craig, for maybe giving you so much shit, but I'm gonna need to see how this works out. If this works, I mean everything I said. Well, I'll give that a minute. And I'll let you. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one blue blur to another. Well, I guess the other one's not a blue blur. From one blue short stack to another, I guess, because they're both 3'3". But yeah, if you want to send me that on a Google Drive, that'd be great. Because if you want to pre-slice that too, that'd be great. I'll pre-slice it if I have to, but I don't want to have to double render it.
Link,
but
I mean, Craig sends me a link of the file, so I can just send you the.
Craig, I watch you hang up, and this is gonna load from 30 to 100. But you can clip this onto my original of the end of the other video if you want, or I can, or whoever. But I'm gonna say, Craig, I think I owe you an apology. And if I upload this and I keep this apology in there, just know in my description, if this does load, check the description of this video to see if I redact my statement against Craig, and we'll see. So as of right now, I'm going to leave it open-ended, but in the description, if you want to know how this war ends between me and Craig, it'll be in the description of the video. But yeah, I don't know. I'm somewhere where I feel like I got to thank him, but I'm still kind of mad.
I have a backup for my backup, which is Craig's your backup, and your backup, which is Craig, is my OBS record. So we have 3 backups. At least one of these is gonna work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you send me whatever you have. It was nice talking. I'm gonna peg this at the end of Sonic, because nothing like spreading brand to people who don't care about what you're trying to tell them. This was on the second half of a different podcast for a different series, Case Closed. If you guys just Detective Conan, check it out. Sega, has its hand in both pools of Sonic and this series, so you never know, you might like it. Check it out. But just trying to spread brand here, and yeah. So it was nice talking to you, JoeB, and
subscribe to Apera.
Totally looking forward to next time. Yeah. Links will be in the description to JoeB, myself,
Professor C?
Apera. You can. Then Professor C on SaveCaseClosed. I was going to bring him up, but I was also going to disclaim that he was from the Case Closed side of this podcast. If you're just Sonic, there's no point. But I will say, you can find me. I'm trying to branch my links everywhere right now at Sherry's Apera. So you can try to find me there. If you type in at Sherry's Apera, all accounts should come up, even if I'm not using those accounts. I'm trying to secure those handles. So if you're trying to find me on some platform, if I do have it, that's where you'll find me. But yeah, at Sherry's Apera is for me. And then naturally, if you're watching this video, you probably already found the link to the YouTube channel, depending how I post this. And yeah, so for more Sega, Sonic, and stuff like that, Case Closed, Bayonetta, Sonic, once again, it's your one-stop shop, and I look forward to seeing you next time, JoeB. And
same here.
This is your one-stop shop. Subscribe, and remember, with a keen eye for details, One truth will always prevail.